Hey, what's going on everybody? Today is Friday, July 17th. My name is Ryan, and today I'm going to show you how to get full PPP forgiveness if you're self-employed. But first, if you're new here and you're just joining us today, please hit that subscribe button. I'll give you lots of updates, everything regarding the PPP, EIDL, SBA, pandemic, all that shit updated here frequently. And also, when you have time, I'd appreciate it if you smash that like button, all right? Also, leave me a comment below on whether you have questions, concerns, comments, anything like that. I love to hear from you, and I'll do my best to answer all your questions. All right, so let's get started. Here we have a case study, all right? We're gonna do this PPP forgiveness application based on this case study. Now, I know the SBA has the PPP forgiveness applications online, but from whatever bank you took your PPP loan from, they're most likely going to have their own electronic portal where you can do all this stuff. So, and it's going to be exactly the same as the SBA forgiveness application. But, you know, just for a more general approach, I'm going to take the PDF version of the application to do this and show you. But just keep in mind, your bank will have its own electronic version. All right. So here we have this guy, Rick Schlurgen. His business name is Addison Commercial. Here's his EIN, his phone number. He's a commercial real estate agent, and he files taxes as a sole proprietor on the Schedule C. His 2019 net income was $50,000, which means that his PPP loan amount was $10,416. Let's see, this is the date he got his loan dispersed, and these are his loan numbers. All right, so we're going to use those assumptions for this application. Here we go. And keep in mind, if you are self-employed and you don't have any employees, you want to apply on the easy version of the form, the 3508 easy. And I'll have links to these forms in the description below. But just keep in mind, if you're self-employed, no employees, you automatically get the easy version, which is nice. So this should be fairly simple. All right, so business legal name. Obviously, you know what this is. We're gonna put this in as Addison Commercial LC. Trade name applicable. We don't have any. Business address. Let's do 12345 East Colfax Avenue, Denver. Okay. Here, business TIN, tax identification number. This is your EIN, or if you don't have an EIN, you would put your social security number here if you're truly just a sole proprietor. Okay, but Rick did set up an EIN, so we're gonna put that in. 8675309, and then business phone 720-8675-309, and the alignment on this is a little strange. Let's see if we can fix that just to make this pretty. Boom. All right, and this address actually should go down here too, because that looks professional. All right, primary contact will be you personally. So if you don't have a legal name, a business legal name, that legal name would be your name as a sole proprietor, and your primary contact would be your name as well. But in this case, we do have Rick Schlurgen as a primary contact. Email address, let's go rick@addisoncommercial.com. Okay. Down to the PPP loan number. We're gonna just copy this from our assumptions here. So we have the SBA loan number, and then the lender would have its own number as well. All right. PPP loan amounts, we're gonna put here $10,416.67, and disbursement date is 6/1/2020, as mentioned in the assumptions. Employees at the time of loan application. So here, this would make more sense and probably would be more easy to interpret if you did have actual employees. But since you're just a sole proprietor, you don't have employees, then what do you really put here? You just want to put one for yourself, all right? One at the time of application and one at the time of forgiveness of application. Because remember, this is for sole proprietors with no employees. EIDL advance amounts, all right? For this case, we're not going to take an advance, so we're going to do 0 here. And we don't have an application number because we didn't apply for it. All right, payroll schedule. Other, because we're not really paying ourselves as a sole proprietor, we are just a sole proprietor. So we want to pick other. I'm just going to put sole proprietor there. All right, so the covered period starts from the PPP loan disbursement date, as you know, and then you can choose between the 8-week covered period or the 24-week covered period. And in order to get full forgiveness as a self-employed, like just from payroll expenses alone, you want to do the 24-week covered period. So that's going to be 6 months out. So we have June, July, August, September, October, November, December 1st. All right. December 1st, 2020. All right. If borrower, together with affiliates, receive PPP loans in excess of $2 million, check here. No, this is only a $10,000 loan. Now down to your payroll costs. Okay, now if you're self-employed, this is going to be very easy. Okay, you don't have to add up any numbers or anything, because self-employed, you essentially get your stuff forgiven if you elect the 24-week covered period. All right, so for payroll costs, right here, if you're self-employed, you're just going to put your loan amount. All right, so in this case, $10,416.67. Mortgage interest payments, we're going to put 0. And remember, if you do have mortgage interest payments, this is for business mortgage. If you own a business property, a commercial property, not your personal mortgage. Same thing with the rent. If you have a leased office or something, or a leased warehouse or industrial space, this is where that goes. It's not for your personal rent. And then utilities, same thing. It's business related. Business electricity, gas, water, whatever. And telephone, internet, that can be included. And then there's also transportation costs, which is cost of gas. That's useful for if you're a Uber driver or Lyft driver or something in that order, all right? But in this case, we're gonna have none of that. Down on line 5, add the amounts on lines 1, 2, 3, and 4. Since we don't have anything in those other lines, we're just gonna put the loan amount basically right there. PPP loan amounts, same thing right there. And then payroll costs, 60% requirement. This is where you divide by 0.6, which seems a little counterintuitive, but it's just it's just a sub step for the final step, right? So we're gonna take 10,416 divided by 0.6. That's $17,361.11. Okay, so now the last step. I know that step is a little weird, doesn't make any sense, but it does in this next step where you choose the smallest of these 3 numbers. Okay, so you're not going to choose the 17,000. You're going to choose your $10,416.67. All right, so there's that. Now, the next part, you just you certify that all these are true. The dollar amount for which forgiveness is requested, you certify that's true as Rick Schlurgens, yep. And we're just gonna certify all these. I understand if the funds were knowingly used for unauthorized purposes, the federal government may pursue recovery of loan amounts, all right? So make sure you use this fund properly, which you will because you're self-employed. All right, the borrower did not reduce salaries or hourly wages by more than 25% of any employee during the covered period. Now, this is only relevant for people with employees, but you know, it's asking you to certify this because this is the easy form. And the easy form, you can't have reduced hourly wages or FTE. The borrower has accurately verified the payments for eligible payroll and non-payroll costs. Yep. I have submitted to the lender the required documentation verifying payroll costs, the existence of obligations and service applicable. For the documentation, you're gonna have to speak with your lender on that and what they will specifically require. All right. The information provided in this application and the information provided in all supporting documents and forms is true and correct in all material aspects. So just don't be bullshitting here. You don't want to do that. The tax documents I have submitted to the lender are consistent with those the borrower has submitted and will submit to the IRS. Yes, that is correct. I understand, acknowledge, and agree that SBA may request additional information. Yep. In addition, the authorized representative and borrower must certify by initialing at least one of the following items. The borrower did not reduce the number of employees or average paid hours between January 1st, 2020 and the end of the covered period, or the borrower was unable to operate between February 15th and the end of the covered period at the same level of business as before February 15th due to compliance with requirements established or guidance issued between March 1 and December 31. Okay, in this case, I know this case study, they did not have to shut down or reduce their operations, and they actually did not reduce the number of employees or anything, so we're just initial there. Okay, so here you just print Rick Schlurgens, owner, date. All right, and then we're just gonna sign it. It's gonna be my signature, but whatever, okay? And down here, we have demographic information. It's optional, but let's just do it. Principal name, Rick Schlurgens. Position, self-employed. Okay, Rick's not a non-veteran. I know that's. I believe he's a male. And Rick sounds like an Asian, doesn't he? And he's not Hispanic or Latino. All right. So that's all I got for the PPP loan forgiveness application. Please let me know if you have any questions in the comments below, and I'll try to answer them for you. Or, sometimes it's really hard for me to get to those. So if you want, you can check out my Patreon page in the description below. And if you support, then I'd really appreciate it, but I definitely am more active on Patreon in terms of answering questions. So check that out. And again, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my channel and smash that like button. I'd really appreciate it. Have a great weekend, everybody, and take care.